Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right in with an urgent consumer alert that affects literally hundreds of thousands of families. We're talking about a massive, newly announced safety recall involving the Honda Odyssey minivan. We're going to do a deep dive into the mechanical failure, the timeline, and exactly what you need to know to keep your family safe out on the road. Okay, let's dive into this. Picture this scenario. You're behind the wheel of your family hauler. The kids are in the back, you've got a packed car, you drop it into reverse to pull out of a busy driveway or a tight parking spot, and your dashboard screen just goes completely pitch black. For families who rely on these vehicles daily, losing that rear visibility while maneuvering a giant minivan isn't just an inconvenience, It's a terrifying picture that creates an immediate and serious crash risk. And this is definitely not an isolated incident. Just look at the sheer massive scale of this recall. 325,588 vehicles. That's how many US-built Odyssey minivans, which, by the way, were manufactured at Honda Manufacturing of Alabama, are swept up in this whole safety campaign. That is a huge footprint of vehicles out on the road right now. So let's move right into Section 1, Anatomy of the Defect, where we'll zoom in on the microscopic flaws actually causing this widespread blackout. What we have here is literally a domino effect of failure, starting right on the factory floor. Step 1. The so-called boss hole for the rear view camera housing was simply made too small for its mounting screw. Step 2. Variations in the assembly jig caused that exact screw to be misaligned during manufacturing. Now, because of that bad fit, stress builds up on the plastic housing, which eventually causes it to crack. And once those cracks grow over time, the real enemy sneaks in. Water. Water infiltrates the camera assembly and severely corrodes the internal components. It's kind of crazy how one tiny manufacturing error with a screw directly leads to water destroying the whole camera over time. And when we talk about those internal components, we're specifically talking about the printed circuit board, or PCB. Think of this as the internal electronic brain of your rearview camera. It processes the video signals so you can actually see what's behind you. But when it's exposed to that water corrosion we just talked about, this brain just completely fails. When that happens, the driver gets absolutely no video signal when shifting into reverse, totally blinding them to obstacles. So the crucial point is this. It's not just some annoying glitch. Federal regulations actually require every single new vehicle sold in the United States to have a functioning rear-view camera. Because this defect blinds the driver and breaks that rule, it makes these vans totally non-compliant with U.S. safety standards. And that's exactly what mandates an official safety recall from the government. Adding to the frustration for some owners is that, well, this isn't exactly a new realization. Some of these exact same vehicles were actually part of an earlier recall back in 2020. That earlier campaign attempted, and unfortunately failed, to permanently fix this identical water intrusion issue. No way around it. That's pretty frustrating. All right, that brings us to Section 2, Affected Models. Let's ask the most important question here. Is your family's daily driver on this list? Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the numbers break down across the 3 model years involved. We can see that the 2019 model year took the absolute heaviest hit in this recall wave, making up over 138,000 of the affected units. That's followed by the 2018 models at roughly 112,000, and finally the 2020 models at just under 75,000 units. And we really aren't just talking about hypothetical safety risks here. Grounding this mechanical issue in real-world data, Honda has already received 1,648 actual warranty claims specifically related to this rearview camera defect. So people are actively experiencing this blackout out in the wild. But hey, before anyone panics, let's look at Honda's estimated defect rate. While over 325,000 vans are recalled, Honda expects that only about 0.8%, literally less than 1% of these recalled vehicles, actually have severe enough corrosion to completely ruin the camera right now. So while you urgently need to get this addressed to prevent future water damage, it's highly likely your camera won't just suddenly die on your drive to soccer practice today. And this brilliantly illustrates how Honda is solving the problem permanently this time around. They aren't just putting a Band-Aid on the old parts, they're entirely switching suppliers. They're completely ditching the faulty units supplied by Magna Electronics, Holley, and replacing them with entirely new units produced by Sony. Just as a quick bit of industry context for you, this action actually marks Honda's second major camera-related recall in just the last few months. It follows a May recall of nearly 60,000 electric SUVs, specifically the Honda Prologue and Acura ZDX, for similar display issues. So it's been a busy year for their camera tech. Okay, so you know the mechanical flaw and you know the models involved. Let's transition into section 3, how to get it fixed. Consider this your personal consumer action guide for exactly what you need to do next. Let's move to and see how this builds a very specific timeline for the recall rollout. Honda already notified their authorized dealers as of July 2nd, 2026. If you're an owner of one of these vehicles, you should be on the lookout for a first-class mail notification, which will start arriving in mailboxes around August 24th, 2026. And here is your direct action plan. Step 1, don't wait for the mail. Go right to Honda's recall website and enter your VIN under recall number HOX, or check the NHTSA database under recall 26V-423. Step 2, if you have any doubts at all, call Honda customer service directly at 888-234-2138. And finally, step 3. Take your van to an authorized Honda dealer. When the parts are available, they are going to install that upgraded Sony camera unit completely free of charge. You know, it's pretty incredible how a single misaligned screw can lead to hundreds of thousands of recalled vehicles. But I think it also leaves us with a larger thought for our daily commute. Have we become so completely reliant on backup cameras that we forget how to drive without them? And what really happens when the modern safety screens we trust blindly suddenly fail us? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay safe on the road, and definitely be sure to check those VIN numbers.